This week, we're dropping deep. Offshore groupers, snappers, and swordfish are coming up from the bottom.
That's right. While in the lakes, big bass and catfish are stacked in the depths. If you're fishing deep, we got you covered on the Texas Insider Fishing Report, which starts now.
Welcome to the Texas Insider Fishing Report. Presented by Yamaha.
Thanks for joining us back on the Texas Insider Fishing Report. And Rick, every so often we do a theme show, and this week it's time to talk about deep dropping all the way from the Gulf to the lakes.
You're absolutely right, Bree. You know, deep dropping to me is something that is more than 200 feet deep. Because when we had mono, guess what? We could not reach the bottom with monofilament. Now, it came out with braid, 500-600. It's easy to do all day long. So
the options are endless. All right, well, there are a ton of ways to approach many different species lurking from the depths. So before we get our first captain on, let's say hi to Dave Farrell at the Parts View Workbench. Hello, Dave.
Got a lot of deep stuff here.
Yes.
Yep, going very, very deep. 500 feet's not even touching it.
Nope.
900, 1900. 2,000 feet.
Here we go. Can't wait to get over there.
I can't even fathom what we're about to talk about today. All right, we're starting off in the lower coast region and getting our deep dropping tactics straight with none other than Captain Chad Kinney. Tell us how it's done, Chad.
I tell you, it's epic. I'm offshore right now, 150 miles out, looking at ocean whale and looking at deep water Talus drill ship rig. But talking about deep dropping, the weather's looking really good, so that's the time to go right now. Is deep drop from now through about middle of October with good conditions. Right now, it's great for grouper, cowfish, swordfish, snapper, lots of different species. For grouper and snapper, pretty much head up from structure about 200 to 400 feet or so for that. And you can jig some heavier savage jig lures off the bottom, especially with the grouper. Just kind of bounce them right off the first 5 to 10 feet and just kind of repeat that like that. For the snapper, you can kind of get up more than that 30, 40, 50 feet off the bottom, and it'll work good. When you're going for the swordfish end, you kind of switch over to a little bit deeper out. You got to get out of the lower coast here, get up to about 12 to 1,500 feet for a good depth number out there like that. And I've got some hooker electric reels made by Penn. Those things really help you out. The manual cranking is pretty difficult, especially bringing weights up and stuff like that. So that'll get you down really deep. You'll be able to land the really big fish and also, of course, retrieve your bait back up when you got to reset and go for another drift. And then towel fishing, look for depths at that, about 1,000 to about 1,100 feet on that. They're like it's sitting there in the mud, so you're not going to mark them really or anything like that, but I'll keep on using my hooker electric reels for that and get you right on the bottom with that, but lay your weight right on the bottom, usually like 3-pound lead, some smaller eagle claw circle hooks and stuff like that. We put some smaller pieces of squid on there. You can get a 4 or 5 hook rig and just lay it right on the bottom, let them bite. And, it's a great time of year to do this. My favorite time of year, especially with the currents and the seas subsiding. It's a really good deal to go. So I got a picture here from not too long ago. Got Bones, who works for me. We had some finds catch a really nice force-out grouper we brought in.
Wow,
so,
that's a nice grouper, dude.
Yeah, that's some good ones. That's a lot of fun. So moving to inshore, right now, head up to the jetties on the lower coast for some good redfish action. The reason being is that we got some good weather. The water clarity's getting good. All that stuff's hitting. Everything's be hitting now. So talking about those redfish, like they're at the end of the jetties in the deeper washouts. We talked about the jetties, the eddies right there. So you got to have it really helps to have a Rodan trolling motor on that. You can get yourself anchor lock right position. And right now, it's great to get some live bait. Use some live crooker, live finger mullet for best results. You can free line those baits, and you can also add a small egg rig to make like a Carolina rig out of it if you got a little bit of current going. You get down to the bottom of the washouts there. There's plenty of slot fish out there at the jetties, and there's also quite a bit of oversized there. So we're using a Penn 3000 spinning combo, spooled up some Berkeley braid, about 30 to 40 pound. Works really good. That way, if you get any abrasions or anything else, you got enough power to pull them off the rocks and still have a great fight. And then we're going to talk more about offshore, which is my favorite time of year now. The snapper fishing's really been good in state and federal waters. And head out deeper into the floater rigs right now where I'm at. And it's been good yellowfin tune action. We just made our first pass and we went 4 for 4. So and we're talking about red snapper fishing. You can't beat it in the Gulf. Here it's the best. It's especially to get better, calmer conditions, stuff like that. We're using some Savage squish jigs. These things work great. They flutter. They're vertically jig them, work the middle of the water column. It works great like that. A good Penn spinning combo on this. You can use, you can use actually down to a 3,000 up to a 6,500 with a blue Carnage jigging rod works really great. Those rods are really tough and give you some good action. Remember, Federal Waters is 2 per person, so go out and definitely enjoy the action while it's still open, and take advantage of that before the season closes. But state waters will be open after that. Moving up to some fun stuff. We've been on some really good yellowfin tuna lately. We're out here right now, like I mentioned. Sorry about the noise in the background, but we're at the floater rigs. Trolling during the day is what we're doing. Like right now, we got Penn International 50 wides with 50-pound Berkeley mono spooled up on it. We're using the Ally 2 rod from Penn. These things are great. I really like them. They're a little bit shorter. We've got rollers on them. They're working great. We're dropping the lines a lot further back than normal and trolling some ballyhoo with some chin weights on it, or a squid daisy chain and stuff like that with some cedar plugs. There's a trailer on it. When we start fishing over, switching to night, then we get some bigger Savage jigs on there. And then we also throw some top water, some poppers and stuff that start blowing up on the top. You can also try some trunking, or free line, some bait out there. If you get a flying fish, definitely use that and put them off the back end on an eagle claw, circle hook, or live bait. That could work really good, which works really good for the best results. So make sure you take plenty of ice with this, guys. We're carrying 1,000 pounds on my 70-footer right now. Just gonna burn through it all on these fish. And we just won the Fort Mansfield tournament 2 weeks ago. We just won 5th on yellowfin. Back-to-back years on that. So we're out here, and if you guys want to book a trip, we're on the 70 Custom. It's the time to go between now and October. Got a picture of the winning yellowfin tuna for tip there. Got Vila there on a picture taking it off the dock.
All right, man. Thank you so much. Good luck. Be safe, Bubba. We'll talk to you in the next couple days. Chad says the hot spots inshore redfish are back out on the lower coast jetties on the edges of the rocks and the washouts. And then if you want to go offshore, red snapper fishing remains excellent in state and federal waters. There's still a good yellowfin bite going on off deep at the floater rigs, Bree.
And Chad just has it all going on up there. All right, next up is the Phillips Upper Coast region with Captain Mickey Eastman, who has some pretty exciting news for the offshore world in his neck of the woods. So go for it, Mickey.
All right, let's get started with the Phillips Upper Coast region, building the infrastructure that safeguards our future. Speckled trout inshore, let's get with that first. Trout fishing in Galveston Bay continues to be good, even with these hot temperatures and water, warm water temperatures. The upper and lower channel over shell dumps near gas wells like A-Lease and all these other projects are producing limits of specs on shad assassins and paddle tails. 1/4-ounce jig heads, 3/8-ounce jig heads are all working. Best bite's been mid-morning to midday with these cooler tide currents. And topwater bite's been pretty good in the middle of the day with pink and orange baits. That water temp right now is running 89 degrees, and water clarity is good and green. And Sabine Lake, let's move over there for their trout action. Conditions are still improving daily, especially on the lower end of the lake. The jetties fish them early with soft plastics and live shrimp. And the lower channel below the causeway near Lighthouse Cove and the LNG plant, they're holding good numbers of fish over shell along ledges in 6 to 8 feet of water. So throw soft plastics and pearl or chartreuse for best results. Some trout are starting to show up in the top end of Sabine Lake near the Ship Channel and Pleasure Island. Water clarity is fair to good, and 89 degrees in the main lake deep shell north of the causeway is producing trout in 6 to 8 feet of water. On saltwater assassins like the slamming chicken or the red shad, and look for diving gulls in the main lake near Blue Buck Point and Garrison's Ridge in about 5 to 7 feet of water. Those trout are chasing shrimp early in the morning hours. So, speckled trout photo this week, Captain Cliff Webb, customer with a 30-inch speck on the top water. What a trophy.
Nice.
And let's get to redfish. Redfish action's picking up with these warmer temperatures. This is a good month for us on the upper coast. Fish shallow over grass and shell early. Schools are running shad and shrimp tied to the shoreline. And topwater, spoons, soft plastics working great. Later in the day, move out in the open bay waters and look for birds, slicks, or mud boils for bigger schools in the heat of the day. And redfish action has been fair to good along the rock groins in Galveston Bay, along the Ship Channel area. Fish all those upper and lower. And moving over to Sabine Lake, their red fishing's picking up too. It's been fair to good depending on wind conditions in lower channel areas on oyster beds near Lighthouse Cove, the LNG plant. They're all producing undersized and slot redfish on soft plastics and crankbaits. Throw bright colored baits in that dingy water when it's messed up with a tide. And Sabine jetties, they're producing great numbers of redfish on live shrimp with split shot and treble hook. Water temperature is 87 degrees over there. This week's redfish photo, Jimmy Frausto with a nice topwater evening redfish. And getting to offshore, fishing in the Gulf is it's incredible right now. These seas have been laid down, and you're talking marlin, sailfish, dolphin, ling, snapper, and kingfish, swordfish, and they're all being caught consistently. Captain Sharkey Marquez out of Galveston reporting great fishing daily with these calm seas. And the good news, Captain Cameron Blogg out of Galveston on the SEMA, he recorded a record catch this past week with a first fantasy slam ever in the Gulf of Mexico. They boated a blue marlin, they boated a white marlin, 4 sailfish, and then 1 swordfish, and then got lucky. It just out of nowhere came an Atlantic longbill spearfish to complete the fantasy slam. This is an epic trip, first ever in the Gulf of Mexico. I think only 3 on the whole globe, as long as I've been following billfish or anybody else. These photos, that photo 1, that's an Atlantic longbill spearfish, which is very rare in our area, and that was courtesy of Cameron Blogg. And photo number 2, that's a swordfish with Captain Cameron Blogg with his crew on the SEMA. That's to complete the fantasy slam. Unbelievable catch.
Thanks for
so
getting us
awesome.
this report so much, Mickey. We'll talk to you again next week. It's time for the hot spots from the Phillips region, Upper Coast region. Galveston jetties and nearshore beachfront are red hot for sharks right now. The lower and upper ships channel over the shell dumps are producing good numbers of specks and reds, and the tarpon are good on the beachfront in 37 feet of water.
What a day with that fantasy. All right, the
Wow.
Star Chun Middle Fresh region is taking the deep drop reins coming right up. But first, Dave Farrell is taking over the Partsky Workbench for rigs and techniques. How deep we going over here, Dave?
Really deep.
Oh,
Really.
we're gonna need that light.
I've been hypnotized.
You have.
Yeah, it's the disco light, but it hypnotized me.
Sure, let's go with that. We'll be back.
The Texas Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Ameritrail. Load, launch, relax. Fenwick. Feel everything. Bahio. Blue light blocking, radically clear polarized fishing sunglasses. Sportsman's Adventures with Captain Rick Murphy. Fishing for adventure. Berkeley. Your fish, our science. Prosex Smoked Meats. Fuel your day the Texas way. And Skeeter Performance Fishing Boats. Eat, sleep, fish.
Well, as you can see, we're here at the Parts View Workbench, Dave. We're
Yes,
talking
sir.
about deep dropping. And, you know, deep dropping for me when I was young was anything over 150 feet.
Correct.
Because monofilament was so big in diameter, to fish 20 pound, you couldn't get it
Right.
below that.
Yep. Not that you had to hand crank everything.
Which is
but
the
you know,
only way to go.
Braid did make this whole deep drop thing possible. I remember when spider wire first came out
Right.
at ICAST, and I was working for Sport Fishing Magazine at the time, and we had a trip to go to Bimini and fish with Ron Shatman, deep dropping.
Right.
1,900 feet we were dropping, which is the Empire State Building with a football field on top of it.
Okay.
That's 1,900 feet.
Just a little drop.
Yeah, and we were dropping to the bottom with 5 pounds of weight, like one of those little candle
Like one of these.
window sash weight, and we were using barracuda, slabs of barracuda, and we were really amazed because with that you know, that braided line, you can feel every little tick and tap of the little fishes as they're trying to eat that barracuda, and then when the big fish came, and we set 9 world records in 3 days because everything that we caught and got to the surface was an all tackle world record because nobody had cranked that thing up from 1,900 feet before.
Right.
So we had yellow eye snappers and winchmen and pomfrets and wreckfish, all these different weird
Exotics.
bottom fish, and we were using stuff like this.
So
It's right
speaking
here.
of stuff like this, let's talk a little bit about the
Well,
rigs.
you know, this rig here is a deep drop rig. This one is made for the smaller fishes, like maybe tile fish.
Right.
Or winchmen or something like that. You know, you got these smaller treble hooks on here. You'll notice that they're pretty long, and that you want, when you're making these deep drops, you want to get as many hooks down there as possible so you can load them up, because you don't want to be dropping this far this many times, especially if you're having to crank them up by hand.
Speak for yourself, Dave.
Yeah, you know, I was good for about 3 drops at 1,900 feet. by cranking hand. And we're using these big dual reels, which were weird Italian reels that you crank this way and you'd be picking up line. And then when you want to go backwards, you could still pick up line just by going backwards.
I could see how that could really work for your personality.
Well, it worked good.
Forward or backward.
Yeah, exactly. And you're using these. You're using this stuff. You're fishing usually between 900 to 1,200 feet of water. Especially if you're going to be fishing for swordfish, you're going to be fishing even deeper. So you're going to be wanting to use lights. You notice all these have glow shrink wrap. It's dark
That's
down there.
That's R&R.
Yeah. Once you get past 1,000 feet, it's dark. So any kind of light. Doesn't matter really what color of light you use, just as long as you have a light down there. And when you put your light on, don't attach it to the leader itself.
Right.
Try to hang it off a piece of hardware or something like that, because if that light is laying against this monofilament and it starts flashing, the whole monofilament lights up.
Right.
Just like those little things you used to see in the mall where the light would turn on and it would make the light go all the way through the fibers. Well, it's the same thing with monofilament. If that light is touching the mono, it goes all the way through and they can see everything.
I gotcha.
So, but nowadays we're lucky we got electric reels, like that Penn Fathom 2 electric reel, the 80 right there. Thing's amazing. 40 pounds of drag, no problem. The battery's integrated inside of there, so you don't have to be, attached to a plug at all times. You can just charge that thing up on the boat, or charge you 3 or 4 of them up before you go, and just keep replacing that battery, as you go. And you can crank by hand if you want to.
Yes.
You can crank a little bit by hand if you want, or you can just go ahead and hit it full electric.
Full electric.
Yeah, and it just cranks, those big weights and everything all the way to the surface.
Now, this also makes a portable.
Correct. You can turn any of your electric reels into a no cable reel. You don't have to worry about being, have to stay next to a plug or anything. If you get these Abyss batteries, you can Velcro them right to the handle of the rod, as a matter of fact, and run your battery. And it has a nice little gauge at the top that tells you how much charge you got left.
Yeah. All right. Good job.
All right, man.
All right. Where are you going, Debris?
Into the abyss. All right, we're going to head into the Startron Middle Fresh region in search of that thermocline with Matt Loescher. Tell us more, Matt.
All right, Bree. Yeah. So here, obviously, deep dropping is not 1,900 feet because we don't have that kind of water, but it's more about like 20 to 30 feet of water. So, the fish in our lakes and rivers just rarely go deeper than that. Some of our lakes and rivers do have deeper water than that, and they might suspend over deeper water than that, but usually the fish itself is not deeper than about 30 feet. So that's what we call deep. It is important to keep in mind when you're fishing deeper like that, as you alluded to, the thermocline is like the bottom wall to the fish. They're not going to be below that. And it's not necessarily the same throughout the whole lake. You might find it in 15 to 20 feet if you're further up in the creeks especially, and then you might find it at 30 feet down near the dam or something like that on the lower end of the lake. So that thermocline is not necessarily the same throughout the lake. I think that's one thing that a lot of people may not realize. So keep that in mind and just always be watching for that on your sonar and treat that as like the bottom basically as far as how deep the fish are going to go. Once you determine where that thermocline is at, then for me, it's just a matter of putting in a lot of idle time, using my electronics until I find a good school of fish or a few big fish or whatever it is, and then, just put some simple baits into play for deep success. And some of those baits that we tend to use a lot are nothing fancy really, just worms, rigged Texas style, or drop shot style is really good for dropping straight down if you're over the top of some deep fish. Carolina rigs are still good for that depth. Hard baits like your jigging spoons and even some really deep diving crankbaits can get way down there and be good. The key to success fishing that deep is just to really learn how to read your electronics, understand how those fish are set up on a spot, and either present your bait properly, whether that's vertically or from the right angle horizontally, and you'll find success here in the Middle Fresh region fishing what we call deep drop. All right, now talking about what the bass are doing right now on our lakes here in the Middle Fresh region, we're going to get into Toledo Bend report for you. here at Toledo Bend, this is a lake that's known for its deeper offshore fishing and the good schools of big fish that it holds. And right now is a pretty good time for that. The lake level has been trending down, and when it's trending downward like that on a steady drop, those fish tend to pull out and get out there real deep. It's about 2 feet below full now, and that's pulling some of those fish that were living a little shallower the last few weeks out to that deeper water. So we're catching them in a pretty wide range lately. We're catching them from about 10 all the way out to 30 feet of water, and a lot of fish are being caught from the outside edge of the hydrilla in about 10 to 15 feet on worms and some topwater plugs. And then there's also some really good offshore spots that don't have grass in about 12 to 30 feet where those fish are hanging on the edges of those flats and out on the ends of the points and things like that. Worms have been great. That Bass Assassin tap-out worm has been awesome. We had our 10th annual summer bass camp at LTD Guide Service last week. We had a blast with all the young campers. They learned a ton and caught some really nice fish, and that Bass Assassin tap-out worm was hands down the bait of the week. A lot of good fish caught on it by those young guys, and that was a blast watching that. And I've got a photo for you of one of those guys. This is young Harrison there, and he's from all the way in Arizona. And that was a fish that he caught on the last day when we had a tournament for him that anchored his tournament-winning bag of the final day of our bass camp there. So congrats to Harrison. We sure enjoyed having him here all the way from Arizona, catching some of those Texas bass. All right, now going over to Sam Rayburn. Rayburn has gotten really low now. It's all the way down there at about almost 6.4 feet low. They're still generating a little bit each day, but not much. They've got the lake level down there where they need it now to do that repair on the dam that we've been talking about. The creeks are a little dirty right now because they've had some rain over that fresh mud that's exposed now on the shorelines, and that runoff has dirtied up some of the creeks, but the main lake is nice and clean. Good clarity there. The bass have been holding out on the ends of the points and the edges there of the flats in about 12 to 20 feet of water. The crankbait bite's been good. The worm bite's been good. Those lower water levels have the fish really concentrated down into the drains and at the mouths of those things, on the ends of those ridges and stuff like that. So you can really catch a bunch right now if you get in the right spot at the right time. And a Carolina rig, his shad bait has been working a little bit as well. And we've been throwing in some top water walking style baits like that Berkeley Jaywalker in a chrome color has been good. So that's all I got for you this week. Good luck out there and stay cool.
All right, Bub, thank you so much. The Rodan Marine System hotspots Matt referred to is the big bass. They're coming from the hydrilla and some offshore spots as well in 10 to 30 feet on Toledo Bend. And then Sam Rayburn is nice and low now, so which have been bass stacked up in 10 to 20 feet and are hammering crankbaits.
Love to hear it. All right, summer is fading fast, but the savings are still blazing hot. It's the final days of the Skeeter Blazing Hot Summer Savings Sales Event, and until September 5th, you can save big with up to $5,000 in rebates on select models. Get the Skeeter boat you've been dreaming about across the popular bass, saltwater, and deep V lines. So visit your authorized Skeeter dealer or go to skeeterboats.com for more details on that. We're getting deep down into the big bass and huggable catfish in the lower Fresh and Prospects Middle Coast region and saying hi to our friend from Skeeter Boats. But before we go, remember there's always more to see beyond the show, so scan the QR code to connect with us. From bonus tips and full reports to fishing videos and merch, it's all just a click away. We'll be right back.
The Texas Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Bass Assassin and Saltwater Assassin, the best lures, period. Berkeley, your fish, our science. Murphy's Law Sport Fishing. Book your trip today at murphyslawsportfishing.com. Abyss Battery. Power your pursuit. Rodan. Set it, forget it, catch more fish. Phillips and Jordan. Building critical infrastructure that matters. Berkeley Pro Spec Chrome. And Penn. Let the battle begin.
Well, guys, as you can see, joining me is Chris Brown from Skeeter Boats. You know, Chris, you guys have been building bass boats for 77 years.
We have.
Number one, congratulations. That's a feat in itself. But more importantly, we got a new bass boat that everybody's talking about. So why don't we tell everybody about
We're
what
excited
we got
about it,
going on?
Rick. This is the new Skeer ZXE. It's the next evolution of bass boats for Skeeter boats, right? I mean, decades of design experience, like you said. Tons of new technology in this boat, tons of new feature content in this boat. Basically, this boat is just mad at the fish. It's ready to go.
I love it.
You know, we listen to the feedback from anglers all across the country when we design this boat, and it shows in this boat, right? Package price with trolling motor, 2 touchscreen graphs, one at the bow, one at the console, shallow water anchors, a Skeeter-built trailer underneath it, tons of feature content inside the boat, new feature content inside the boat. And of course, you can't forget that Yamaha 250 show on the back. I mean, it's providing experience on the water that you'll never forget. So
Now you do have some options, but what I'm always been impressed with is the Skeeters. Their standard features are a whole lot more than most of the competition, correct?
they are. Most folks' options are our standards on
Right.
boats, what I say. So a lot of neat stuff that's already package priced into that boat. All you gotta do is hook it up, put gas in it, you know, make sure that there's oil in that Yamaha, and go fishing. I mean, it's pretty simple.
So speaking of that, you know, we got this boat motor package. So what about warranty?
So warranty, got a lifetime transferable warranty on the hull and on the boat. 3 years on everything internal as far as electronics, things like that, that's part of the boat. And of course, you got that unmatched warranty on the Yamaha, which through your dealer and through promotions could be up to 5 years or more.
That's
So,
right.
But
So, you know what? You guys are known for certainly building bass boats, but this is a beautiful bay boat we're sitting on here.
Yeah.
Let's tell everybody, what size bay boats do you offer in the Skeeter line?
So from 20 foot up to 25, so we start with our 221 all the way up to our 25, 50 fish or family. We've got a whole lineup of bay boats available for customers as well.
So if guys want to know about bass boats or bay boats, where do they go, Bub?
Skeeterboats.com.
All right. You know what? You did a great job. I appreciate all your hard work.
Thanks for having me.
And you know what, Bree? Speaking of hard work, we got some more to do. Let's go.
Yes, we do. All right, we're testing our deep drop skills in the Heroes on the Water Lower Fresh region on Stillhouse Hollow, Travis, Buchanan, Fayette County, and Falcon, of course, with Matt Reed. Go for it, Matt.
All right, let's kick this thing off. You know, summer is in full stride, and this definitely puts multiple species out on the deep drops. The bass in nearly every southern fishery will be located on the main lake, the main lake deep drops. There's a few great methods to attack those fish. The Berkeley Dime deep crankbaits and any of your soft plastics are the two best ways to attack them. I love to chase them when they're out there because they're usually grouped up in schools and you can catch a bunch. The catfish also settle to the deep drop edges. Find the steep river ledges, and the summertime trophy cats will be laying at the bottom. Live bait such as tilapia or bluegill are wonderful choices. Fresh cut bait will also catch those fish out on the deep drops. But, this time of year, hot, they're looking for a cool place to be, so get out to the steep structure, and that's where you're going to find your fish. Got a bunch of largemouth bass stuff here. Let's kick that off. Brian Cotter sent me a report from Stillhouse. It's still going strong. The fish are up shallow in the flooded brush, and the topwater bite is really good. Swamp lord frogs or jaywalkers are catching a ton of fish up there. You can also look for grass out on the flats and pitch worms and creature baits around that. That's giving up a few big fish during the day. Lake Travis is fishing well. Some fish are shallow with that new flooded cover, but the best bites out in 15 to 30 feet of water. Throwing jigs, worms, and creature baits for those fish out on those deep drops. Also, you want to throw some crankbaits along the rocks and the coves and cuts. That's getting quite a few bites. Also, the cranks are working on the cliff walls. There's a lot of fish hanging in the shade of those cliff walls during the summer days. Lake Buchanan is fishing really well. Fish are up shallow in a lot of the areas that with the new flooded brush. A frog can be good around any rock edges or near laydowns. And always fish the rock piles on this lake and you'll find fish. Crankbaits and spinnerbaits work well there on those rocks. Greg Boyk sent me a report from Somerville. The heat still has Somerville fishing really slow. The largemouth are biting fair on the isolated brush piles and rock in that 12 to 18 foot of water range. Black and plum and blue fleck worms are your best option to get you a few bites. But Somerville's been a little tough, but you can catch one if you work at it real hard. Fayette County continues to be really good. Your best bet is to start out deep early in the morning. Don't worry about the shallow water. Main lake points, drop-offs, and road beds with a Carolina rig is your best option in that 12 to 20 feet of water. You can also need to look for bait fish suspended around schools of shad. There's a great chance to catch those fish, on flutter spoons and things such as that. We got a bass picture here with Brian Cotter with a really nice Lake Travis fish. Those Central Texas lakes caught a bunch of water. You've got that great cover, so get out there and get in on the action.
All right, Bub, tell us about the alligator gars.
All right, Ram Ray has got a cool deal down there at Falcon. Those giant alligator gar are awesome. The fishing is picking up all over the lake. Cut tilapia, cut carp, and gizzard shad have been working well in that 5 to 20 feet of water to catch those giant gar. Also, if you're into bow fishing, it has been really excellent because they come up and surface during the summertime. Drifting down the main river channel will give you an opportunity to get a shot at one of those giants. Got a picture of one of his clients there with the one they caught this week. That thing they look like they ought to live in salt water, but they're just freshwater beasts. They're awesome fish.
Yeah, they really are, man. That's so awesome. All right, my man, thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the lower fresh region. Hotspots, Matt, thank you. Lake Travis, the bass are cooperating. Some fish are shallow, but the best fish are out in 15 to 30 feet of water. Throw football jigs or shaky heads with the Berkeley mag hit worm for these fish. A crankbait thrown along the rocks is also getting some action. Choose the proper Berkeley dime crankbait to hit your targeted depth, and guess what? You're gonna fill the boat.
You're gonna fill the boat.
That's what he said.
All right. Well,
All right.
if you're dropping it low in the Projects Middle Coast region, get ready to reel in a sortie. Keep going, or some red snappers this weekend with Captain Bink Grimes. Can you get up? Go for it, Bink.
Can I get up?
Hey, our deep dropping pattern this
Yeah,
time
you're
of
so
year is
low.
offshore, mainly for red snapper. Squid and other baits in 80 to 120 foot of water has been the pattern for these bigger snapper. August traditionally boasts these calm seas, and the next 30 days should be a good one on the big pond. Swordfish action has been a player about 80 to 90 miles offshore while drifting hilltops and canyons. It's been waiting game, but those willing to put in the time and effort have been rewarded. Now let's get to trout. Our surf has been a player lately in Matagorda. That's normal for August. We love tossing mirrors, she dogs, and cheap pups, and for those bruiser trout in the ocean. Surfside Beach, Freeport, you don't need a boat. There's miles of sand to fish on foot. Most are tossing plugs and soft plastics, or they take a bait bucket with live shrimp or gulps. Waders around San Luis Pass have scored on 51M mirror lures, soft dines, and bass assassins. The bay's been just as profitable. Deep reefs in West Matagorda Bay are holding trout on gulps. Shell Island, Matt Island, Twin Island are holding trout as well. Drifting away in East Matagorda Bay has been good for trout to 5 pounds. Rockport waders have gone tight to the shorelines, throwing corkies and small topwaters. Later in the day, they're falling deep on those sand flats and belly deep water. They're eating bass assassins, sea shad, and mirror lure little johns. Then on the deep reefs in West Bay has been good on top waters and those gulps under corks. That new dragon tail and turbo shrimp have just been a killer bait all summer long. August is traditionally a month that we see a lot of light winds, but we love the way that mid-bay reefs and the shell throwing those top waters, and we plan on getting in the surf today, tomorrow, and all through the weekend. Redfish action, there remains a lot of redfish in the surf. Most of those fish are right on the beach in the first cut. Those able to make a long cast from the boat have been nailing them on live shrimp. Surfside, Matagorda, Porter Connor Jetty are holding large numbers of redfish on pogies and table shrimp. Waders in West Matagorda Bay are catching reds right on the grass line. Don't be surprised to find redfish underneath the birds. There's a lot of fish at the end of the Matagorda Jetty as well. Those reds are following gobs and pogies coming through the mouth of the Colorado River. Porter Connor, Porter Ranges Jetty are holding the same. Those incoming tides been good for those fish up to 40 inches. Redfish been coming to the surface and schooling on most days. So, man, it's a big game throwing to those reds coming to the top. That photo, that small turn swirling overhead pointed the way to East Matagorda Bay redfish. That's what's happening right now. They're pushing all that bait to the top, and those turns are showing us where to go. Offshore action, large schools of tarpon are showing just off the beach. They're fickle creatures. One day they bite, one day they don't. That's just tarpon, but we're getting more of them. The consensus among tarpon anglers. They're in about 40 foot of water right now near Freeport and Matagorda. They're in 90 foot of water around Port O'Connor. Jetty. They love to loaf. We're getting ahead of them and throwing coon pops to them. Any of those boats are posted up off the tip of the jetty and waiting for those schools of tarpon to roll, throwing those coon pops, throwing menhaden. Large schools of menhaden coming through the pass right now, so those tarpon are just shadowing them. Photo there, that's Captain Michael Quebec with his first tarpon of the summer last week. He's been getting them all week. He took a break from sword fishing one day because our tarpon are really starting to show up. So it's going to be really good. It's cranking up. August calm sea should do nothing but help our efforts for chasing poons in the Prosciut's Middle Coast region. Our fishery's in good shape. Please take care of our bays and oceans, and please release more than you take.
All right, Bink, thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the mirror lure hotspots from the Middle Coast region. He says the trout are good in the surf on sheep pups while working the first gut. The redfish are good at the Port O'Connor jetty on shrimp and pogies. And then the tarpon, they're showing up along the beachfront in 40 feet of water, right?
40 feet of water. All right, well, we're in prime time deep drop mode in the upper fresh region coming up. Plus, Dave is in his new products prime at the Parts View Workbench. When we come back, it's looking pretty good over here, Dave.
It is. I got these really cool little cutters.
Cutters.
These things are really compact.
Very compact.
Very sharp.
Very sharp. We'll be back.
The Texas Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Abu Garcia, Fish to Win, Fenwick, Feel Everything, Berkeley Pro Spec Chrome, Heroes on the Water, Paddle, Fish, Heel. Turn on the bite anytime. Tie on a MirrowLure. Front Runner Boats, performance-built offshore fishing boats made in the USA. And Startron, start, run, and store with Startron.
Today's PowerPole tip is about the new PowerPole Vision. The Vision comes in a 7-inch and 12-inch model, and it's the industry's first marine infotainment center built for your boat. Picture it as your phone reimagined for the marine environment. So we solve the issue where your phone overheats. The Vision will not do that. You can see maps and charts all day right here on your dash. You also have access to the 3 million apps on the Play Store. So charting, navigating, whatever your favorite satellite maps are, download them to the Vision and see them better than ever. It's also an entertainment device. So all of your apps like social media, I can take a photo or video with the camera right here, upload it to social media for all my friends and family to enjoy. I can take a Zoom meeting, I can do emails all right here from the Vision. I can even Venmo friends money when they beat me in a fishing tournament, or DoorDash a pizza to the ramp. To learn more about the PowerPole Vision, stay tuned to the next couple episodes, and we're gonna take a deep dive into everything that it can do. And that's your PowerPole tip.
Wow. Well, we're going to troll the edge here at the Parts View Workbench, you know what, with Taco Marine. But
You gonna be taking Zoom meetings out on the boat?
no, dude, I'm going out in the boat to get away from that stuff. But I do think I might be ordering a pizza.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
You know, you order that pizza and drive from Flamingo back to the
at the
house,
ramp.
That baby's waiting on you.
There you go. Well, we're going to start with the Bajíos down there, the Pilas, I think that's what you call them, designed around the Bajíos color-enhancing high-definition lenses. Incredible polarization in these lenses. They got the blue light blocking technology as well. Blocks 95% of the bad blue light, 90% of the harsh yellow light, and 100% of all UV light. So they're great for your eyes. Reduces fatigue. You can measure it. It's just so much better for your eyes. That's an extra large fit and a medium wrap, and it comes with that's a new color there, that green, and it comes in 7 different lens colors as well.
I know you're a wire girl, but I'd like to see you in these.
Okay.
I'll
take them.
BajíoSunglasses.com.
There you go.
To get that. Next, we have the Angler Co. Core series. We're going to start with those little braid scissors there you got in your hand. Yep.
Okay.
They're for braid or mono. They're super sharp, strong, very reliable, anti-rust Teflon coating on there, and they got that soft rubber grip, and they cut like crazy.
They do.
Incredibly sharp, and that's like 80-pound braid or something.
It is. It
50,
is,
yeah,
50.
It's nice. And then next we have the line snips. These are very compact tungsten carbide line cutter. It's a very small tool, but really big on performance. It's corrosion resistant body, like I said, fluoro mono, and it's made out of anodized aluminum. And it's such a tiny,
I like the way it fits in your fingers.
yeah, it's it's made to grip your hands, and you can put that on a lanyard if you want to and hang it from your belt.
And I can even put my old pinky out.
Yeah, you put your pinky out.
Yeah.
Anglerco.fishing.com.
Cool.
We're gonna have a lot of more stuff from those guys as well.
Yes, we are.
Next, we have Savage Gear, the Magnum Squish Jig. It's called a squish because it's got a fish on one side and a squid on the other.
Yeah, so this side, look, as you can see, if you zoom in here, this one looks like a squid. And then when I turn it around, it looks like a fish.
Yeah, it's a great vertical jig for any, bottom dwelling game fish.
Well, you're struggling over here,
yeah,
Dave.
I am. It's a center balanced, so it moves really erratic across the sideways, so it'll stay in the strike zone a lot longer. You just free spool it down to your depth, and then you just give it a jerk and retrieve.
I like it.
Retrieve, jerk, retrieve, jerk, retrieve. Top quality materials, double assist hooks, and it comes in 5 different colors.
I like it.
SavageGear.com to get your squish jig.
Squish.
Last, I'm going to probably really mess this one up. KC Scott Apparel, local artists from Lake Park. These are 3 different shirts. That's the Quiver Polo, 67% poly and 26% cotton.
Right.
Yeah. 50 plus SPF. Feels very soft. I love it when they mix the spandex and the polyester.
Pandex.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Next, we have the Atlantic Traveler Islander button-down shirt. Again, 71% polyester, 21% cotton, and 8% spandex.
What a good-looking shirt. What is that one
He just makes really good stuff. This is the nice hoodie.
This is KC Scott?
This KC Scott Rip and Tide camo. That's his own camo, special camo on there.
Wow, that's cool.
Again, 90% poly, 10% spandex, 50% SPF, tagless neck, and these are all regular fit, true sizes.
You know the only thing wrong with this shirt? It's an XL.
Oh, darn.
SOB, son of a gun.
Oh, darn.
All right, bub, good job over here tonight. I guess you get to take that extra large with you.
That's some good looking stuff from Casey Scott. And I need to get me one of them squishes and that pair of glasses. This workbench is for me. All right, summer is the perfect time for some Yamaha Repower finance offers. From now until September 30th, 2025, purchase a new eligible Yamaha outboard to get rates as low as 6.99% APR for 72 months when financed through Yamaha. For purchases made on the Yamaha credit card, get introductory rates as low as 2.99% APR for 36 months, then 15.99% to 23.99% APR thereafter. Visit YamahaOutboards.com for complete details. But you know what? It's time to get the schools fired up in the Upper Fresh region. So let's get with Mike McFarland in Studio T for some deep drop deets. Hi, Mike.
Studio T, hi Bree, hey Captain, Dave. Yes, it's very hot in the Upper Fresh region, and the deep drop bite is actually on fire, believe it or not, on these lakes. So let's kind of get to that theme and tell you, just like Matt down in the Lower Fresh said, we are in full summer patterns of the big bass are on those deep breaks. So those deep ledges, the deep breaks is where you're finding the schools of bait fish, and you need to use sonar to do that. So vertical dropping baits like a basket tap and tap out worm or a big Berkeley jig can really produce great results with big groups of fish moved offshore on the deep break. So I sometimes will take even a flutter spoon and I'll rip it up and down through the school just to fire them up, because once you fire them up, you create a really good deep drop break bite. So let's tell you about the bass fishing on Levon. Terry Thornton says the black bass are same as usual. It's a really super fun chartreuse and white spinnerbait bite early mornings. And they're also catching a few on soft plastic jerk baits in the same areas there, but darker colors on the jerk bait. So Ray Hubbard, Joe Shipley says water temps are the high 80s, lake is full pool. The bass are still consistent. Buzz baits in the morning around rocky banks, and then switch to the jigs and shaky head around rock and brush piles. Your brim colors are best. And I'm using like a quarter-ounce jig and quarter-ounce shaky head and a half-ounce jig just to give you a reference. Going to Lake Fork with myself, Captain. McFarland, we are catching big fish on the deep drop ledges, the deep breaks, the deep humps, any hard bottom and shell bed areas, big worms, the bass assassin worm, or a 3/4 ounce Berkeley, PB&J, which is peanut butter and jelly. Those have been the best baits on fork for really big bass, very consistent. And in this picture right here, I love my clients when they hold the fish like this, and they just relative how big the mouth is here. You'll see that this is an average Lake Fork special right here. Look at this. Everyday kind of fish. So slick to overcome, and we're still catching bass. Right. Moving on to crappie. We've got Lake Levon, Kerry Thorne. He says the crappie seem to get slow there, but here's the deal. One day they're good, one day they're not. So you just kind of got to go test your luck. So when you do run into them, live minnows are best, and they are catching them pretty good when they do. Lake Fork, Jackie Wiggins said crappie are in full swing summer pattern, seeing huge numbers of fish and really having to go through lots of little fish to get to the keepers, but structure in 10 to 32 foot of water. Brush piles, lay down, timber, your typical underwater bridges and tire reefs. Now, Jackie says he'll find that one day they're finicky too, but the live minnows will save you. So try your small hand-tied jigs, your small plastic. If you're struggling, those live minnows will always save you. I'm one to just tip, I'll even tip my little hair jig with a live minnow. I just like to do that for crappie. And again, sometimes he's swimming them over the crappie schools instead of waiting for the crappie to come get it. And here's Jack going to work and filling the table.
Nice. All right. Tell me about the stripers.
And hybrids now with Lake Levon, Kerry Thorne again, white bass holding 15 foot, white 1 ounce slab spoons or slow rolled swim baits, Little Ridge Point, Hybrid Point. Sometimes the island tip has been really good. Watch the wind and the birds. And here's the tip. You want to catch 2 at a time. Tie a hair jig above your slab spoon, about 12 inches above it. You catch 2 at a time. Just like Matt Cartwright over on Tawaka, he said lake level's 85 degrees and they're killing the hybrids and stripers. I mean, catching a limit 15 minutes, 22 to 35 foot suspended. Once that bite's done or their limits are filled, they're chasing the sand bass throughout the day, anywhere from 8 to 12 foot on slab spoons. And Matt here, this table of fish is just loaded from end to end, limits of everything, stripers, hybrids, and the white bass. Look at him go to work.
Tell us about the catfish,
limits
Bo.
of everything.
He always does. He loves it. So catfish, kitty cats are just on the perfect for a theme, deep drop. Catfish are on the 15-foot deep drop to the flats. So just put a little bit of chum on that deep drop edge, 15 foot, and then go back an hour or two later with chub bait, tub bait, and you will fill your limits in no time. Excellent catfish in the Upper Fresh region. Thanks for having me, guys. Man, it's such an awesome time here. Come fish with us.
You have a picture of a catfish or no?
No pictures of cats today. We did have a big table that it got sent in late. I'll send it next week.
All right, bud. Thank you. Great report from Studio T in the Upper Fresh region. We're going to go ahead and take a look at your hotspots. Thank you so much, Mike. Mike says all the Upper Fresh region lakes are fishing just like the summer weather. It is hot. The big bass, huge crappies, quick limits of hybrid stripers, and catfish are filling the freezers and making great memories.
Oh, making great memories. I love it. All right, well, as we wrap things up, gentlemen, it's time to take a look at what you've been reeling in from the Gulf to the lakes and the creeks. Here's what's popping on Season Social this week. Let's look at it.
Oh my, hold the camera.
Oh. What's happening? Oh my.
Is that a 13?
Oh. I want to hear what
Is that a teener?
A teener?
A teener.
It's a teener.
Hold that. Oh, I gotta call Jerry right now. Oh my God, is that
Who's Jerry? I want to know who Jerry is.
I gotta call Jerry right now.
Look at that monster.
A teener. Wow.
Do you know
that
love it.
Is so great.
Love it.
My God.
Wow. Congrats to you guys, man. That's a teener. I love it. I love it.
He just kept lifting and it just
didn't end.
Kept coming.
It didn't end. And you know what? I love that when they catch those big fish and hearing everyone's different reactions. It's like, I gotta call Jerry. You never know what you're gonna say.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, do you have a fishing clip worth sharing? Make sure you send it our way, scan the QR code, and drop in our DMs for a chance to be featured on Seize the Social.
Seize it.
Also, I want to know who Jerry is. Thanks for tuning in, everybody, today. Make sure you stay cool, catch those big fish, go deep dropping, do all the good things, and we'll see you next week.